Could you able to see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
I'm audible to you now. Guys, I'm audible to you now.
Yes, sir.
Okay then. See, we started our discussion on pattern programs. Like yesterday, we discussed about a program like this. And this is a program which is used to display the uh, right angle triangle pattern. Okay, this is a program that we discussed. And this is the explanation that I gave. Okay, and to display this pattern, and you can write either this loop or this loop. Okay, like this, we want to discuss some logics by discussing about the patterns. So these patterns will help us, or these pattern programs will help us. Okay, to
Improve.
improve our logics. Okay, to improve our logics. Logical skills gets improved with the pattern programs. Okay, so now today we discuss about the other pattern. See, I will try to give you the pattern and what are the loops required to display that pattern. And for all pattern programs, you people have to write a class like this. Like already we discussed in the last one program, we discussed like this. Na? In main method, you first take how many rows you want to print. Then call the method called print pattern or some method. It is a user defined method. And inside this method, you try to write the loops. Like this, every program that you need to practice. Okay. So for this program also, I just gave only the loops. Either you can follow these loops or you can follow these loops. You can follow any one of these loops. Am I clear? Online folks, am I clear to you now? So you make like a program. Today we are discussing about the next one. So first what we will do is we will start our Eclipse. So now the Eclipse is started. And meanwhile, I will explain about the program. Sure. Guys, observe it. I will tell you what is the next pattern program that I'm going to explain to you. See, suppose now n is equal to 5. Means n means number of rows, right? N means number of rows. If n is equal to 5, then I want to display the output like this. Means I want to display the pattern like this. Okay, I want to display the pattern like this. Something. The pattern is going to be like this. Okay, I will explain how the pattern should be. If n is equal to 5, then the output should be like this. Folks, everyone. Okay, this is the left angle triangle. So if n is equal to 5, I would like to display the output like this. Suppose if this is my screen, then I want to display the output like this. Okay. Yeah. I want to display output like this when n is equal to 5. Okay. So guys, uh, yesterday we discussed about when n is equal to 5, we discussed about how to display the right angle triangle. But now we are discussing about left angle triangle. Now our discussion is all about how to display this pattern. Our discussion is about how to display this pattern. Am I clear, folks? Online people, am I clear to you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So when n is equal to 5, you have to display the output like this. So could you tell me the loops required for displaying this pattern? Can you try the loops for this? Can you try what is the outer loop required? What is the inner loop required? Could you try for this now? Could you try what is the outer loop required for this and what is the inner loop required for this?
Yes.
Folks, online folks, are you trying this program? Everyone in online?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Just try to think by yourself. Okay. Don't search for it in Google or somewhere, but you try to just think by yourself. What are the loops required for displaying this pattern? What are the loops required to display this pattern? That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Folks, let's discuss now. Okay. Okay. Guys, let us discuss about how to display this pattern. First of all, guys, first of all, we all know that this is the first row of the pattern and this is the second row of the pattern. This is the third row of the pattern. This is the fourth row of the pattern and fifth row of the pattern. Am I right?
Yes.
We know outer for loop is for
Row.
iterating for
Row.
lines are the rows. When you are
Row.
discussing about the pattern programs, while discussing
Yes,
the pattern programs, outer for loop is for
Rows.
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 And inner for loop is to display the columns in a row. Am I right or not? In the first
Yes,
row,
sir.
how many columns have to display? One column.
One bar.
In the second row, how many columns have to display? Two
Two columns.
columns. In the third row, three columns have to display.
Yes.
Okay. Suppose if the row variable is I, column variable is J. Okay. What is the row variable name? I. What is the column variable name? J.
Three.
Tell me if I is equal to 1. I is equal to 1 means which row? First row. When I is equal to 1 means when row is first row, how many columns have display? One column. When I is 2, then how many columns have display? 1, 2. Means J should start at 1, J should end at 2. When I is 3, J should start at 1, J should end at 3. Yesterday also we discussed about the same loops. Means tell me if I is equal to 3, J should repeat how many times? Fourth time it will fail. How many times it should repeat? 3 times. When I is 4, then J should, the J loop, the inner loop, should repeat how many times? 4 times. When I is 5, 5 times. Nothing but J should repeat how many times? I times. J should repeat how many times? I times. When I is 1, J should repeat 1 time. When I is 2, J should repeat 2 times. Nothing but what J should repeat I times. J is the inner loop. I is the outer loop. Okay. Next again. Understand the logic. But the thing is, directly don't display the asterisk. Don't directly display the asterisk. Before you display the asterisk, there are some spaces required. These are all what? If you want to get a pattern like this, guys, if you want to get a pattern like this, tell me before asterisk, what should be displayed? Spaces required.
Space.
Spaces required. Could you tell
Yes.
me after how many spaces? After how many spaces I should get this asterisk?
Four.
Four space.
Four spaces. But you know, between one asterisk to other asterisk, we are giving one space also to print our pattern in a beautiful way. If you look at this now, there is a space between asterisk to asterisk now. There is one more space between them, one more space between them, one more space between them. Able to follow me, right? Actually, this is before this 4 asterisks means 4 spaces. But between one asterisk to other asterisk also we want one space.
So
Am I
8
clear to you
spaces.
now? So 1,
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Guys, could you tell me how many spaces required here?
8.
8 spaces required. After 8 spaces, then display the asterisk. Am I clear with you? Am I clear with you? Online folks, am I clear with you?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Very good. Guys, could you tell me here how many spaces have display? How many
Six.
spaces have to display?
6.
6 spaces required before this.
Yes.
Very good. Here, how many spaces required?
4.
4. Here, how many spaces required? 2.
2.
In the last row, space required or not required? Not required.
Not.
Could you tell me once again in the first row, after how many spaces we have to display the asterisk? 8.
8.
What's the value of I here?
1.
I is equal to how much? 1. It's a first row, na? I is 1. Okay, please understand now. Tell me directly first I'll display the asterisk. First I need to display the asterisk directly, or first I should display the spaces then asterisk. First spaces followed by asterisk.
Asterisk.
First I should display the spaces, then followed by what? Asterisk. This is what I should do. Guys, this is what I should do. Am I clear with you folks? Online people, am I clear with you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Means I need, in my outer for loop, I need 2 inner for loops. Please understand, outer for loop, inside outer for loop, inner for loop 1, inner for loop 2. Do you know why this time 2 inner for loops I'm writing in the outer for loop? The first inner for loop is for printing the
Spaces.
Spaces. Okay. The next inner for loop is to display the asterisks. Folks, printing asterisks. Did you guys get my point, folks? Tell me in one outer for loop, how many inner for loops I'm creating? 2 inner for loops I am creating. One inner for loop is for what? To print the spaces. The other inner for loop is for what? To print the asterisk symbols. Am I clear now? Could you tell me how many asterisks required? How many asterisks required in the first row? In the first row, how many asterisks required?
1.
Only 1.
Okay. Could you tell me first of all what is outer for loop for this requirement?
4 int I
Oh.
equals
Int I equals to 1, I less than or equals to n, I plus. Okay. I will write spaces for loop later. Could you tell me what is the inner for loop for printing asterisks? For int j equals to 1. Guys,
Yes.
j less than or equals to how many times? I times
And I.
j plus plus. Don't confuse with the patterns. Folks, am I clear to you right now? Okay. System dot out dot print of asterisk na. Then one space also required after asterisk. After asterisk. This is yesterday also we discussed it.
Yes.
Online folks, did you understood about this?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Very good. Then you know how to move the control to the next line after printing the required asterisks. Println will move the cursor to the next line. See, these loops, yesterday also we have discussed it. Yesterday also we know about this. Yesterday also we know about this. But today, before printing the asterisks, what is also required? This is one space, this is one space, one space. Like this, could you tell me how many spaces first have to print? 8 spaces have to print. Am I clear? Good.
Yes.
Tell me if I is equal to 1, How many spaces required? How many
Eight.
spaces required? 8.
8.
When I is equal to 2, how many spaces required?
6.
6.
6. When I is equal to 3, how many spaces required?
4.
4. When I is equal to 4, could you tell me how many spaces required?
2.
When I is equal to 5, could you tell me how many spaces required?
0.
0. Do you find any logic? Could you form any logic between the number of spaces and I value?
I into 2.
Okay. Could you find any logic between the spaces and the row? Means I is equal to 1, I is equal to, when I is equal to 1, how many spaces required? 8 spaces required. So could you tell me how to display those spaces?
As we are reducing the number of I, we have to add spaces by 2.
We have to add the spaces by 2.
Means 0 plus 2, 2, 2 plus 2, 4,
Hmm.
as like that.
If I'm
We
incrementing,
subtract, or we can subtract 1 from n and multiply that number by 2.
okay. Yes.
2 into 5 minus I 2i
2 into 5, 2 into n,
2 into n minus 2i
2 into n minus 2i. Okay. Any other?
J equal to n minus 1.
Sorry.
Sir, J equal to n minus 1.
Not J. J already done. I mean, J loop is to
Okay.
display the asterisk.
Okay, we will take one K.
One more variable will take here. Okay. K. Correct.
K equal to n minus 1.
Okay.
Then K less greater than or equal to 1. K minus minus.
Okay.
Then SOP 2 spaces we will add.
No, it will give you so many spaces then.
Hmm.
Okay, guys. Okay, think about it. Please understand me. Could you tell me what is the value of n? 5. In the first row, how many
Right.
spaces required? 8. What is the value of I? 1. What is the value of n minus I
4.
in the first row?
4.
What is the value of n minus I? 4. What is the value of 2 into n minus I? Calculate. Please calculate n minus I here. I'll write arrow. Please calculate what is the value of 2 into n minus I.
Yes, 8.
Could you calculate what is the value of 2 into n minus I? What is the value of n?
5.
5. 5 minus 1?
4.
4. 4
Eight.
into 2?
8.
8.
Could you calculate the same for the next row?
2 into
Could you calculate the same for the next row? 2
Six.
into?
5
First of all, calculate what is n minus I.
3.
3.
5 minus 2.
2. 3.
5
Three.
minus 2? 3.
3.
3 into 2?
6.
6. Very good. Could you calculate the same thing for? Could you calculate the same thing for I is equal to 3?
2 into
2 into
5
n
minus
minus I. First calculate n minus I, then multiply with 2.
2.
5
n minus
minus
I equals to 2.
n
And
minus
2
I
into
equal to 2. 2 into 2 is 4.
4.
Yes.
The same thing could you calculate for the next one?
Yes.
5
5 minus 1, 4.
1.
4
5
into
minus 1 is 4. 1 into 2 is 2. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Could you
Yes.
calculate the last one?
5 minus 5, 0 into 2 equals to 0.
5 minus 5. 0. 0 into something is 0.
Yes.
So you are getting space as 0. Could you
Yes.
tell me? Yeah. Could you tell me how many spaces I have to print?
8.
2 into
Oh, okay. 8 is okay. Here
2
6,
into
here
n
4.
minus I.
8 is not fixed. How many spaces I have to print?
2 into n minus I.
n minus I.
That is the formula. 2 into n minus I spaces I have to print. Could you tell me now? In outer for loop, how many inner for loops we are creating? In outer for loop, guys, how many inner for loops that we are writing?
2.
2.
2.
Out of 2 inner for loops, one inner for loop is for what? And other inner for loop is for what?
One
One
for
for
spaces,
One inner for loop is for asterisk.
printing spaces,
Spaces. Other one is for asterisk.
printing asterisk.
Already for asterisk I written the for loop here.
Yes.
But above this for loop, I need to write inner for loop 1 here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'll write inner for loop 1. Could you tell me what is the inner for loop 1 then? For int j is equal to 1, j less than or equals to 2 into
N minus 1.
2 into n minus I. 2 into n minus I, j plus plus. You may have a doubt, sir, already j variable we have used, then why are you again using the variable j? If you are confusing with the variable j, then you take another variable called k. But actually we can use the same variable j also, because this j variable is local to this inner for loop 1.
Yes.
This j variable is local to this inner for loop 2. Am I clear, folks, in online?
Yes, sir.
J variable is inner. This j variable is a local variable for what? Inner for loop 1. This j variable is local to what? Inner for loop 2. Tell me, is both the j variables are one and same, or they are different variables?
Different variables.
Here I am having a j variable. Here also I am having a j variable. My question is what? Is both the variables are one and same, or they are the two different variables?
Two different variables.
They are the two different variables. How do you say that they are the two different variables?
Their scope
Think
is
fastly.
different. Both scope is
Because this j variable scope is in inner for loop 1. This j variable scope is inner for loop 2. Able to follow me? So I can take the same name in 2 for loops. Still, if you are confusing, you can take variable called k. Then what should I write here? K plus plus. Able to follow me, guys? Online folks, am I clear to you?
Yes, can you change that like a J in the middle also?
Yeah, condition also.
Condition.
Sorry, thanks. Guys, system.out.print. Could you tell me what should I print here? Space, na? Now tell me, this outer for loop has how many inner for loops?
Two inner.
Guys, this outer for loop has how many inner for loops?
Two inner.
Two inner for loops. Could you tell me what is the use of this inner for loop 1?
For a space.
To print
Printing
the
spaces.
spaces.
Space.
This inner for loop 2? To
Asterisk.
print the
Asterisk.
asterisk. Tell me, first asterisk should be printed or spaces should be printed?
Space.
Spaces followed by asterisk. Spaces followed by asterisk. That's what correct? That's why
Yes.
first spaces followed by asterisk.
Asterisk.
Did you guys got this point, guys? Everyone?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
We will write a
Sir,
program.
I
Hello?
have a quick question. Yes. Sorry. So for the second for loop, inner for loop, so then why we are using like a space after asterisk?
Here you are talking about?
Yes, if you are
Yeah.
using the space
See,
in
yeah,
the
okay.
like first.
For first row, for very first row, your question is valid. why we need a space after asterisk. But when you come to the second row, between one asterisk to the other asterisk also, you need one space here in between.
Yes.
So that
Yeah.
space is this one.
Okay. Understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thanks.
I have a one question, sir.
Yeah.
Could you let me know I equal to 1? Okay, I know, but a space equal to 8, how can I got it this type of thing? A
Okay.
space equal to 6, a space equal
Okay.
to 4.
I'll tell you. 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 I will explain. Just first of all, let me copy this diagram into our document for your reference. Then I'll write the code also. I'll show you the code as well. But first I will like to copy this document in the diagram into our doc.
Thank you so much for your patience,
Just a minute. Folks, this is our example today. Okay. Good, guys. So you're asking about why these 8 spaces and all, right? So I just
Yes.
want to explain. Assume that, please understand, assume that I'm just taking like this. If I want, I will increase it also. Yeah. Folks, assume that we have something like this. Asterisk, space, asterisk, space, asterisk, space, asterisk, space, asterisk. N is equal to 5. Just please understand. Next. Asterisk, space, asterisk, space, asterisk, space, space. Everybody try to understand once again about y spaces. Suppose n is equal to 5. Guys, do I want this type of pattern? Do I want this pattern? N is equal to 5, right? When n is equal to 5, do I want this pattern? No. What is my pattern?
Triangle.
I don't want all these in the first row. I don't want all these in the first row. Means what? Cut all of them with the space now. Count how many spaces I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Am I clear? Am I clear now?
Yes.
Everybody?
I got it.
Got it? Very good.
Yeah.
So tell me how many spaces? How
8.
many spaces I need to print in the first row to get only one asterisk at the right corner?
8.
8 spaces. For the second one?
6.
You got it, na?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. Let's write the program.
Oh.
Guys, let us write this program now. Let's say pattern program 2 is a project. Pattern program 2 is a project. Let's click on finish. Let's go ahead to write the code. And please understand. Am I clear so far? Am I clear so far, folks? Am I clear so far? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Let's create a new class. And of course, we will discuss about the packages concept in further. We'll discuss about the packages concept further, but I would like to add the package name as com.ashokit.basics. And this is, let's say, some name, it doesn't matter. So pattern 2, pattern 3, something. Guys, could you tell me, first of all, we need to discuss about how many number of rows required, how to take input through scanner. So first, let's create a scanner object. Folks, am I clear? Then I should, what should I do? I should ask system.out.println. What should I write? Enter how many rows you want to print. That's called number of rows. And take that into n variable. It could be 5, it could be 8, or it could be 20 also. So take that into, guys, so far I don't explain anything. This is very common, right? In the last program also we written. Take the number, how many rows you want to print. Maybe you can give input as 5 or 8 or 7 or 6, whatever the number you want. Tell me after taking the input, then you have to print the pattern now. So call the method called print pattern. Pass the variable n. But where is print pattern? Is it a method given by Java for you? Do you have any method called print pattern given by the Java language? No. We have to create our own method. What's the method name? Print pattern. So let's create this method. Guys, now there is a method created called print pattern. Let's start writing the loops. Could you tell me once again my outer for loop, inner for loop 1 and inner for loop 2? This is outer for loop. Okay, outer for loop is for the rows. Outer for loop is for the rows or lines. Could you tell me now what is the outer for loop for our example? Just now I have explained the loops, outer for loop, inner for loop 1 and inner for loop 2. Could you tell me what is the outer for loop now? If n is equal to 5, how many rows you want to print, boss? How much time you want to take for this small question? If n is equal to 5, how many rows you want to print? 5 rows you want to print.
5.
Then tell me what the for loop now.
Int I is
For
equal to 1.
int
And
I
is
equals to
equal
1,
I less than or equal
I
to
less
n.
than or equals to n,
And I plus
I
I plus plus. So how much time you will take for just telling this simple for loop? This is for
outer.
outer for loop
row.
for rows.
This is
Inner for
space.
loop 1 for the
Spaces.
spaces. Could you tell me now how many spaces to be displayed in a row before the asterisk symbol?
8.
2 into
2 into
n minus
N
I.
and minus I.
Tell me for int. Okay, j is equal to 1.
J is
J less than or equals to
I
2 into n minus I.
I.
Am I clear for you?
Yes. And
Could you tell
equals-
me this inner for loop 1 is for spaces, na?
Yes.
You need system.out.println or print? Print. Because first you print space and stay the cursor on the same line.
Yes.
Okay, how to make the cursor to stay on the same line? How can you make a cursor to
Using-
stay there itself? By calling the
Using
print
print-
method. Println method will move the cursor to next line.
Next.
But we want to make the cursor to stay there itself because next one more space to be printed in the same line. Yes.
Yes.
Only space, one space. Now could you tell me what is the inner for loop 2?
To print the asterisk.
For the
Asterisk.
asterisk symbols?
As well
Yes.
as space.
For the asterisk, of course, asterisk followed by space. Tell me. Tell me how many asterisks to be printed? How many asterisks to be printed in a row?
less than or equal to I.
I times. If I is equal to 1, 1 asterisk. If I is equal to
2,
2
then
times.
2.
If I is equal to 3, 3 times. Nothing but I times. Tell me, j less than or equals to I,
I.
j
J
plus plus. Very good. See, 2 times I'm taking the same variable called j and j, but this j is a different variable and this j is a different variable. This j belongs to inner for loop 1. This j belongs to inner for loop 2. Both are two different variables. What is the scope of this j?
Print the space.
Only
For
print
inner for
one
loop 1.
space.
What is the scope of this j? Asterisk.
For
It is for
inner
inner
loop.
for loop 2. Both are not same.
Yes.
Am I clear, folks?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Tell me here I should print asterisk and to say the cursor on the same line. Asterisk. After the asterisk also one space I want display between asterisk to asterisk.
Yes.
Could you tell me what the purpose of this has this white space? This is to
After
display the
asterisk.
space between asterisk
Two
to asterisk. One asterisk to other asterisk. After printing the first row, then cursor should go to next row for printing the second row of the pattern.
Yes.
Then how
Yes.
to move the cursor there?
Print
Print
alone.
Print align. Let's run this program, folks. Enter how many rows you want to print. Let's say 5
8.
rows. Now tell me, are you getting your required pattern?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Suppose I want to print 8 rows. Then am I getting my required pattern or not? Yes. This is the program.
Yes.
Yes.
Am I clear with this now? With
Yes, sir.
this knowledge, I'll copy this program code into our document so that it will help you. Am I clear? Next. Guys, my question to you now, please try to find answer for this. Think on this. N is equal to 5. I want display output like this. Okay, I want display output like this. Are you getting my point? I want display output like this. Please try to understand the output what I'm trying to display. Okay. When n is equal to 5, I want to display output like this. Please try to write the loops for this. Try to find solution. Please try to find the loops for this. Please try to form the logic. Yeah, folks, online folks, have you got any clue on this? Have you got any clue on this to print a pattern like
sir.
this?
Sir, outer for loop in the for int I is equal to 5, I greater than or equal to 1, I minus minus.
I equal to 5 means I equal to n.
Yes.
Okay.
Then the previous same.
Inner for loop 1 and inner for loop 2.
Yes.
Okay. Any other way? Any logic that you are getting for this kind of output? Any logic that you are getting to display output like this? Yes? Yeah. Observe here, folks. So actually, I can also take these lines as fifth row, fourth row, third row, second row, and first row. But generally, I don't want to take like that, and I don't want to confuse you. I always want to take this as first row only. Okay, first row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row. Could you tell me what's the value of I here? What's the value of I?
5.
First row, na?
5.
First row. First row means I is equal to 1. I don't want to change to
Yes.
5 to 1. Okay, I always want to go for 1 to n only. Okay, I is equal to 1. First row. This is second row, third row, fourth row, and fifth row. Am I clear, folks? I always
Yes.
want to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only. I don't want to take 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't want to confuse you by telling two types of loops like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row. That's it. Could you tell me when I is equal to 1, could you tell me how many spaces required?
0.
Could you tell me when I is equal to 1, how many spaces required?
0.
0.
Zero.
Very good. When I is equal to 2, second row, could you tell me how many spaces required?
2.
2. Very good.
2.
When I is equal to 3, could you tell me how many spaces required?
4.
4. When I is equal to 4, could you tell me how many spaces required?
6.
When I is equal to 5, could you tell me how many spaces required?
8.
This is clear now? Now try to
Yes.
form the logic now. What is wrong in this? Guys, try to form the logic now. First of all, tell me when I is equal to 1, how many asterisks to be printed?
5.
5.
5.
When I is equal to 2, how many asterisks to be printed? Asterisks,
4.
not spaces, asterisks. 4.
4.
Yes.
4.
Yes.
Please understand me. Am I clear with you? When I is equal to 1, how many asterisks to be printed? 5.
5.
When I is equal to 2,
Then
4.
4.
When I is equal to 3,
Then
3. When I is equal to 2, sorry, I is equal to 4, 2. When
Then
I is
2.
equal to 5, 1.
Then 1.
So please understand. I will write here. I is equal to 1. Guys, could you tell me how many asterisks? 5.
5 asterisks. Yes.
I is equal to 2. Could you tell me how many asterisks?
4.
I is equal to 3. Could you tell me how many asterisks?
2. Sorry, 3.
3. I equals to 4. Could you tell me how many asterisks?
2.
Asterisks are 2. I is equal to 5. Could you tell me how many asterisks?
1.
Am I clear with you so far? Am I
Yes.
clear with you? First, try to form the logic for spaces, then we'll try to form the logic for asterisks. We need one outer for loop with the 2 inner for loops. Inner for loop 1 for spaces. Inner for loop 2 for asterisks. First, let us form the logic for spaces. Try to form the logic for spaces, folks. Could you form the logic for spaces? Yes. Could you form any logic for spaces? Folks, anyone? When I is equal to 1, how many spaces required? 0, na? Please try to calculate 2 into I minus 1. Please calculate 2 into I minus 1. For spaces I am talking about. I is equal to how much? 1. Calculate what is 2 into I minus 1.
0.
1 minus 1.
0.
0 into 2.
0.
Spaces 0 only, na? So replace
Yes.
I value 2 here.
Yes, correct.
I value 2. Replace now.
Yes.
2 minus 1. 1. 1 into 2. 2. Tell me spaces 2 only, na? Next I value 3. For I is equal to 3, please try to replace I value 3 here. 3 minus 1 is how much? 2. 2 into 2? 4.
4.
Spaces 4 only, na?
Yes.
Did you got the point right, guys? Could you
Yes.
tell me now how many spaces I have to print?
2 into I minus 1.
2 into I minus 1 spaces I have to print. Am I clear? This is
Yes.
for inner for loop 1. Tell me now, how many asterisks to be printed? Could you tell me how many asterisks to be printed? First of all, could you tell me what is outer for loop? Could you tell me what is the outer for loop?
4 into I is equal
For
to 1.
int I is equal to 1, I
I
less
less
than
than
or
or
equals
equal
to n
10
I plus
I
plus.
plus.
I always wanted the outer for loop like this only.
Okay.
Tell me next. Could you tell me what is the inner for loop 1?
4 into J equal to
What is the purpose of inner for loop 1?
spaces.
To print the spaces. Could you tell me now? For int
In J is equal
j
to
is equal to 1,
J
j
less
less
than
than
or
or
equal to
equals to
2
2
into I
into I minus
I.
1. That my number of spaces, na? J plus plus. This is inner for loop 2. Inner
Yes.
for loop 1. System dot out dot print space.
Space.
Am I clear, guys? Spaces is okay. Let's talk about asterisks, folks. Could you tell me, folks, when I is equal to 5, how many asterisks you want to print? 5. When I is equal to how many asterisks you want to print? 4. When I is equal to 1, 5 asterisks, na? Could you tell
Yes.
me how many asterisks I am printing for first row? 5.
5.
N value is how much? 5. I
5.
value is how much? 1. Please
Mm.
calculate n minus I plus 1.
Yes.
Please calculate n minus I plus 1. Please calculate when I is equal to 1. N is 5. 5 minus 1. 4 plus 1. 5 asterisks only, na? When I is equal to 2, please find the answer for this. 5 minus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 plus 1? 4. Tell me asterisks are 4 only, na?
Yes.
When I is equal to 3?
5 minus
5
3.
minus 3 is 2. 2 plus 1? 3. 3 only, na? When I is equal to 4,
5 minus
5
yes.
minus 4, 1, 1 plus 1, 2. Asterisks are 2 only, na? Lastly, when I is equal to 5, 5 minus 5, 0, 0 plus 1, 1. Asterisk is 1 only, na? Could you tell me how many asterisks are to print now?
N minus
N
I plus
minus I plus 1.
Plus
Tell me the inner for loop 2. For int
Mhm.
j is equal to, I can use
Yes.
j again. J is equal to 1.
So
J
yes.
less than or equals to
N minus I
n minus I
I
plus 1.
plus 1.
J plus plus. Am I clear, folks?
Yes.
Could you tell me this is for printing what?
Asterisk.
Asterisk system dot out dot print of asterisk, but after asterisk one space
Space.
required, concatenate one white space to get between asterisk to asterisk one white space required, na? That for that reason. Then how to move the cursor to the next line? System dot out dot println. Am I clear, folks?
Yes.
Am I clear with this example?
Yes, sir.
Everybody in online, am I clear with this? I want to copy this diagram. Let us write the program for this. Like this, slowly practice the same program at least for 2 to 3 times. Form the logic between the rows and columns. Then you will get to know how to write the pattern programs. Let's write a program for this now. Guys, let us go to Eclipse. Create a new
Yes, sir.
Java project. And our Java project name is Pattern Program 3. Pattern Program 3. Let's remove this module info.java file. Let's create a new class. You know already all these things. Could you tell me what the package name to enter? com.ashokit.basics. Class name I want to enter is pattern 3 or pattern 4. Something. Some class. Tell me, guys. Same scanner object is required. How many rows you want to print? All these things are common, na? Yes. I want to copy that instead of writing it again. Where I copied from main only, na? Yes. Yes. Folks, so please understand me. Okay, I will do that. Just a minute. Now look at this, folks. I will continue the program. Let me continue the program now. Guys, this outer for loop is for rows, na?
Yes.
Yes. Outer for loops
Yes.
for rows. So we know the rows now. Tell me inside this we need 2 inner for loops now. How many?
Yes, sir.
2.
Two.
2 inner for loops we need, right? Folks, everyone, am I clear? 2 inner for loops required. Could you tell me what the use of inner for loop 1? Inner for loop 1
Inner
for
loop for one
Space.
space.
Changing
spaces.
spaces. Yes.
Could you tell me now, as per our example, how many spaces required? Could you tell me how many spaces required?
Into say equal.
2
For
into
tell me, int
into j equal to 1.
j is equal to 1.
1.
Ah.
J less
Then
than
less than or
A
equal
less than
to
or equal to
2
2
into
into
I
2
minus.
into
I.
I minus 1. Am I clear?
Yes.
2 into I minus 1.
Yes.
Tell me next.
Oh.
J plus plus.
J plus plus.
Very good. Tell me this is to print spaces now. System dot out dot print
Space.
white space. This is next for inner for loop 2. For what?
For asterisk.
For the asterisk. Could you tell me now? How many asterisks required? Int j is equal to
Into J equal to 1.
1.
J less than or equal
J
to
less than or
n.
equal to
N
n
minus
minus I plus
I
plus 1.
1. Am I clear?
Yes.
Very good.
J plus plus.
J plus plus.
Exactly. Exactly. Very good. Huh. System dot out dot print. What should I print? Asterisk I have to print. Then space also have to print. Concatenate one white space also. Folks, am I clear with you? Then how to move
Yes,
the
sir.
cursor to next row? System dot out dot
Println.
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 Or for the second loop, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it wrong if I did for int j equals n semicolon j is greater than or equal to I?
That like that also you
Semicolon,
can. Yeah.
J
I got
minus
it. I
I.
got it. Yeah, yeah.
That's
But
fine too, right?
yeah, that is also valid. But the thing is, I always I always want to write the loops like in the same structure, nothing but I want to take the rows as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If there are
Okay.
5 rows of pattern, I would like to always take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only, but I don't want to explain with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We
Okay.
can't say the first row as a fifth row, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I just want to give the logic in common way so that the people won't confuse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good, good. So hey guys, let's run this program here. We'll run the program. Suppose now I is equal to 5, means sorry, n is equal to 5. Are you getting your desired output? Yes. Yes. If n is equal to 8, are you getting your desired output? Yes. Did you guys got the logic now? Am I clear with this, folks? Online folks, everybody, am I clear with this? Okay. Good. 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 So I just want to add this to a doc so that you can, find this program in the doc. Okay. Right. So we are discussing some pattern programs right now. Next. Why we are discussing all these pattern programs means because to improve the logical skills. See, now you are forming some logic between the rows and columns. That logical skills are very important. These all will improve your logical skills. These are all for improving the logical skills. Okay, logical skills. That's very important. Folks, everyone, folks, I would like to. Yes, I would like to give the next example to you. You have to write the program for this, guys. I'm not even explaining it also. If n is equal to 5, I want to display the output like 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please write the loops for this. If n is equal to 5, then you should display the output like this. Please write loops for this. Could you write the loops for this? I should display. Guys, have you done this code? Have you written the loops for these folks, online folks? Everyone. Aksh, Bhagesh, Dan, JP, Nitish, Rajalakshmi, Rabshree, Sandhya Rani, Ruku, everybody, Sushmita. Yeah. Folks, have you written the code?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
good. Good. Could you tell me now? What is the I value in the first row? What is the value of I in the first row?
1,
I is equal to 1. Second row,
2,
I is equal to
2.
third row, I
3,
is equal to 3. Tell me in the first row how many columns have to display?
1.
One
One.
column. In the second row, 2
Two.
columns. In the third row, 3
3
columns.
columns,
Fourth row, 4 columns.
4 columns.
But are you printing asterisks or are you printing the numbers?
Numbers.
Tell me now. The inner for loop should repeat I times, na?
Yes.
Am I right or not? Could you tell me now what is the
Yeah.
outer for loop and inner for loop for this?
For
For
int I equal
In
to
the I is equal
int
to
I
1.
equal to 1.
I less than or equal to
I less than or equal to n.
Yes, I less than or equals to n.
n.
I plus plus. This is outer for loop.
Yes.
Yes.
Could you tell me the inner for loop?
J equal to 1, J less
For
than
int j equal to 1.
For
Say equal
int
J
j
equal
equals
to
to
equal
1.
to J less than or
j
equal
less than or equal to
J less
I.
than or equal to I. I times na?
J plus.
J
Yes. We are printing this.
My question to you. Are you printing asterisk?
No.
No.
What are you
Number.
printing? Number you are
Number.
printing. In the first row you are printing 1. In the second row?
1, 2.
1, 2. In the third row?
1,
1,
2,
1,
2,
3.
and 3. Nothing but you are printing the value of j.
J.
J starts at 1, right? J
Yes.
starts at 1. J ends at I. Am I right?
Yes.
What are you printing now?
Yes, sir.
J.
J.
How to print the J?
System
System dot out dot
Out dot
print
print.
of J
J
plus
space.
space. Very good. Nice. Slowly we'll get the patterns. Don't worry. System dot out dot
Dot
println.
out dot println.
Folks, am I clear with this loop now? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Suppose if I print I here, could you tell me what's the output?
Yes.
If I print I, if I print
1.
I value there, what's the output you are expecting?
1,
1.
1, 1.
Then 1, 1.
1, 1, no, 1,
1, 1.
3, 3.
Row number will be
Row
getting.
number you will get.
Ah,
What
Yes.
output you will get? If you print I here, then what output you are going to get, you know?
1,
first
1,
1,
1,
2, 2,
2,
then
2,
2, 2.
3, 3, 3.
3, 3, 3. If you want to print output like this, then you should print I value there.
Yes.
Yes.
Because here I is equal to 1, here I is equal to, here I is equal to 3. Am I clear with you now? If you
Yes.
want to print
Yes.
output like this, then display what here?
I.
Print I.
I.
But if you want to print 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 like this, then print the value of what? J.
J.
Folks, am I clear with you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I just want to copy this. Oh. Okay. Direct copy is not allowing. I'll make it like a image and I'll copy it. So finally, guys, everyone, finally, guys, am I clear for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Folks, this is called a asterisk pattern or a number pattern? Number pattern.
Number pattern.
Previous programs are asterisk pattern. Same like asterisk patterns, but what are you printing now? Numbers in place of asterisks. Okay. Similarly, guys, suppose if n is equal to 5, I want to display output like this. Tell me, this is called character pattern. This is called what? Character pattern. This is called what? Character pattern. Folks, am I clear to you?
Yes.
This is called what? Character pattern. Could you tell me how to write program for this? Could you tell me the loops? Yeah, folks, online folks, offline folks, could you tell me how do you write the logic for this? Sorry. Yeah, guys, I think it's better if I give it to you. Observe here, folks. For int I is equal to 1,
Less
I
than or
less than or
Yes.
equal to
10.
n I plus plus. This is outer for loop, na?
Yes.
Inner for loop, observe. For char. What I'm taking? Char. So far we discussed about int only in the for loop, na? But now we can also take character variable. Char, we can also write char. CH is equal to capital A. Single quote. Why single quote?
Character.
A single
Represent the
character.
character.
How do you store a single character into a character variable?
Yes,
Single
In
quote.
single quote. Single quote represents single character. Double quotes represents string in Java, right? Very good.
Yes.
Yeah. CH less than or equal to capital A plus I minus 1. CH plus plus. Guys, could you tell me? I'll tell you. See, capital A plus, what is the value of I? 1 minus 1? 0. We are adding 0 to capital A. Actually, capital A value 65. ASCII value of capital A is 65. 65 plus 0, 65 only, na? 65 represents capital A only, na? Then tell me it is starting from capital A. It is ending at capital A. Am I clear?
Yes.
Next time means I becomes 2.
B.
This character A starts at A plus, or the I value? 2.
1.
2 minus 1? 1. 65 plus 1? 66 is capital B. Nothing but this is starting at A, ending at B.
Yes.
Am I clear to you? When I value 3, third row, it will start at A, ends at C. That's what we want, na? When I value 4, starts at A and ends at D. When I value is 5, starts at A, ends at E. That's what we want. System dot out dot print CH plus space. We also want space, na? Guys, system dot out dot println. Please understand this by yourself. This is the loops for this. With this, we want to conclude our today's session. And remaining patterns will be discussed on Monday. But one thing, folks. First, let me insert the picture. Then folks, please try to understand, okay? Do you know what is the ASCII value of capital A? 65. Capital A ASCII value 65. Okay? Good. If I write capital A in single quote plus I minus 1, means capital A value 65 plus I value is 1, 1 minus 1, 0. 65 plus 0 will be 65 only.
65.
Means what 65 is a capital A. Means what this character variable starts at A, ends at A. Next time, starts at A, ends at B. Next time, starts at A, ends at C. Am I clear now?
Yes.
Very good. Yeah, folks. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.